Nottingham Forest first game of the season ends in defeat as they travelled to the Emirates and lost 2-1. But is it bad or was there some good signs? We'll cover all of this off in tonight's Grumpy Old Reds. Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are. Hope you're doing well, and welcome to, I feel a bit of a relaxed atmosphere speaking to the boys backstage. Well, we'll see how long that relaxation lasts. Hope you guys in the chat are doing well, and to you guys watching later on, hi, hope you're well. Please don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. And panel, how are we? How are we all doing? And Dino and Ez, all good?
All good.
Yeah, good.
You.
Good.
Yeah, not bad.
I'm seeing a lot of comments in the chat about Scarpa and Olympiacos formations. I'm seeing stuff about Cresswell as well. We'll touch into all of those. Good to see you boys in the chat and girls. Hope everyone's well. Hi, Sly. How are you? Martin, Mark, all of you. Hope you're doing well. Start getting your thoughts and comments in. We'll start with the game and we'll cover that off because a lot of people were thinking Forest were going to hold 5 or 6 yesterday, and it didn't end up being that way. Most of us were right about the tactics, but it developed towards the end of the game, which was quite interesting. Let's start with you, Ez. How did you read the game as an overview? What were your kind of closing thoughts really on the match?
Yeah, it's the first half was just about first 20 odd minutes we were fine. We looked okay, the shape looked good. We actually looked like we were backing each other up in those positions with the low block, and it looked like it was going to be a tough day for them to get through. And I thought we'd kind of seen off the threat a little bit early on, and then a little bit bug off. They score one, and then they score another one within 5 or 6 minutes. And to be honest, at half time I was fearing the worst, but I'll let the guys talk about the rest of it. But yeah, I would take it to half time. I was fearing the worst. I thought they finally got their mojo. They looked like after they scored the first 2 goals, it looked like they could score with every attack, and it was getting a little bit Alamo-ish. So a bit scary going into half time, but it did change. It didn't change straight away, but he did make the changes, and we'll get onto that. But yeah, like I say, it was the overall result you'd kind of be happy with, to be honest. Anyone said 2-1 going into that game, regardless of how we played, you would have taken that. But I felt that we showed signs of what we are capable of, and what we've kind of, as a group, we've kind of been asking for so long. But we saw glimpses of it. So there was shoots of recovery for me there. But yeah, overall happy with it.
Chat, how do you now feel on the game? Like roughly 24 or more than 24 hours later? Are you happy with? I know you can never be happy with a defeat, and I know who I'm going to go to next to that question. But what are your thoughts? Are you feeling more optimistic about the season ahead, less optimistic, or about the same? Get your thoughts, and I want to get you guys really interacting with us tonight. And you always hate it when we lose. I don't care if we're playing Real Madrid. You're not a fan of a loss, but looking at it objectively yesterday and kind of leading us up towards halftime, and you guys jumped on for the halftime show yesterday. All of us, I think, were thinking a couple more Arsenal goals will come in our way. So what really changed? Do you think it was Arsenal just doing what's the word people use, a professional job where they thought at 2-0 they were safe, or do you think it was the substitutions and maybe a change in tactics from Cooper that turned the game a little bit? Now let's not get ahead of ourselves, but kind of where were you on that?
That's a hell of a long question.
Sorry.
Generally speaking, I'm not too disappointed. Yeah, of course we don't like to lose, but we've got to bear in mind who we're playing. We've got to bear in mind it's the first game of the season. I have to say that performance, I was kind of a little bit surprised. It's certainly better than anything we showed pre-season. If we'd have gone into that with the pre-season form, we would have been slapped, wouldn't we? And bear in mind, we've got neither of our best first choice central defenders playing. I think we did reasonably well. On the me, low block, etc., same as all of us. But on this occasion, I think it was the only thing we could have done. I mean, and they were getting frustrated. And, their goals, one was a deflection, one was a worldie. Another day, you don't know. Arsenal deserved to win. Don't get me wrong. Of course they did. They were the better team. They're bound to be. But I thought we did quite well. I was quite pleased. I thought the defence did show a lot of intent, a lot of intensity. They really seemed to be at it, and they didn't want to let them score, which I think was great. Again, considering what we've seen in pre-season, so I was feeling encouraged, to be fair. And of course, second half, yeah, Arsenal did perhaps take the foot off the gas a little bit. But most teams do that. Second half. I mean, I'm sure we've all seen games where our team's been falling up at half time. You're thinking this is going to be 10. Second half's always that bit quieter. And once we made once we made the substitutions, we did look a different side, and I was quite excited. And that goal was absolutely magnificent. I mean, I've heard Arsenal players complaining about their defence. I wouldn't blame their defence. I would just say that Elanga was like lightning. Taiwo cut in beautifully and took his goal. Great goal, no complaints. And we could have snuck a late, undeserved equaliser. But generally speaking, I was quite encouraged by that. It certainly gave me a lot more. I'm certainly looking forward to the Sheffield United match a lot more than I was before this game.
Yeah.
I was kind of dreading it, but it's given me that encouragement. Players back, different formation, home crowd. Sheffield United, I watched them; they were shit. I mean, really bad. So I've got a lot of encouragement for Friday.
All right, Dina, I want to start looking at some of the players. Obviously, Turner came in and made his debut. What did you think of him? Did you think he looked at home, or did you think we still need a Henderson there?
It was at home.
It was big pressure on him, wasn't it? Playing against his old club literally a few days after. I think he did really well, to be honest. He looks as though he's going to fill the defence with confidence, and that's what you need. I think when Navas played, although he was a great shot stopper, he never looked solid, did he, with his handling? And he seemed to be all right. I mean, he was beaten by a deflection and a worldie at the end of the day away at Arsenal, and they weren't bad. I mean, they didn't put in a bad performance. So you can't blame an off day for Arsenal and a good day for Forest. I think he did well. His distribution looks okay. Interesting to see that they were kicking longer a lot rather than play it around the back like they normally do for 20 minutes. So, yeah, I think positive. I mean, do we need Hendo now? I mean, is he going to be our number one? Would that budget be rather spent elsewhere?
I feel a poll coming on. well, carry on with that thought, Dino. What do you think? Do we need Henderson? And chat, let's get an early poll in. Why not? Is Hendo required? And what I will remind you all of is that I remember when Navas came in, wasn't it the Leeds game, his first game last season, and he had a worldie and was man of the match. And then suddenly everyone's like, Hendo's let him be injured for the rest of the season. So, don't jump to conclusions. But let's get a little feel. While I'm doing the poll, get some of these, what's his name again? Turner comments in. It's interesting to see what they're saying.
No, I'm so quick. I'm clicking on one and it's dropping down. Crazy Cat's not sure. Good distribution, I agree with that, and that's something we've suffered with for a long time, and we've since Samba really had a good, decent distribution. He was the last keeper that had it.
It was a little shaky. Sorry, he was a little shaky to start with yesterday. He had one clearance that was closed down, and but after that he looked really decent. He made a really cracking save from I think Rice. It was Declan Rice's shot, wasn't it? Yeah, because that took a deflection as well, and he tipped it onto the post. And I felt he looked confident. Another one of the problems that we don't really pay too much attention to with Navas was also the communication issues. He struggled. Yeah. He really struggled to get his ideas across to the rest of the guys. The amount of times he had his arms up, and you could see that there wasn't that communication basically with the back line that is needed, and I think that really helps. But can I just throw my opinion in on Hendo, whether we still need Hendo? What? No, shut up. Right, who's the backup now? So if Turner does get injured, God forbid, but we're not in the Forest, so it's more than likely. Who's the backup? So you know what? I still say we need Hendo, and we need to have competition for that number one place.
But nice to see him battle it out, wouldn't it? Crazy cat lady, that's what my missus says to me all the time.
You bad boy. Can I just say, with Turner, I was really quite impressed with him. I didn't feel nervous about him at all. Like when Hennessy or Horgoth or somebody, or even Navas is in there, You've always got that nerves. I felt quite comfortable with him. He seemed to command his box well. He's a big lad. And I still want Hendo, but I want 2 good goalkeepers. I want them both. And the point is, I'm not now worrying and waiting on Hendo, thinking, oh God, when is he going to come? Is he going to come? I'm quite calm with it. So obviously it's the first game, but I've seen Turner a few times, and to me, that's how he is. That wasn't anything special. That's just his normal output, his product. So I'm quite comfortable with him.
And you wouldn't blame him for either goal yesterday, would you? You know, the first one, I think without the deflection, he probably would have saved it, would have hit him. And the second one, he didn't stand a chance. So I couldn't blame him for either goal yesterday. And his distribution was decent. His long kicking, his throwing was decent, and he was doing it at the right times. I like him to be a bit more on the front foot and a bit more confident, and almost orchestrate our attacks a little bit more. But that will come with confidence, and that will come with him getting used to the players around him. But that's something that Samba did really well for us, you know, with his throws especially. You know, he'd get us up the field within seconds, you know, and just time it right. So that'll come with, like I say, with time and confidence.
Yeah, but just before you come back in on that, and 2 things. Over 200 of you in here already. We've only been going a couple of minutes. Thank you for being here. Please make sure you hit the like. Only 32 likes. Come on, guys. And subscribe if you're new. I think the point is, on here, what I always like to do is kind of get under the bonnet of it and really ask the questions that, hey, he's still alive, Spacebar. Welcome back. Hope you're feeling better.
Because of the win today.
Yeah, 5-1, wouldn't he?
5-1. He's definitely feeling better. But here's the thing. And I'm going to point this out at you and kind of touching on what the guy said. 20 mil is roughly, let's just call it 20 mil now for Henderson. Yeah. Whether we have to pay it this year or next year. Okay. Would the money be better spent now? I mean, there's talks on a Sangare bid going in. We've seen Tyler Adams has broken down with Chelsea. Is that 20 million not better spent on an outfield position? And then maybe trusting a Shelby, for example, as the backup keeper, or bringing in, you know, the Dragon, the Polish keeper who's really good for a lot cheaper as a backup? Or do you think we need 2 number ones to be fighting it out for that number 1 position?
Well, it's quite funny because the point I was about to make was that what this does do, being Turner and him looking good, you know, first game, I accept, but looking good at the moment, is that it puts us in a more powerful negotiating position with Manchester United now. Because now we're not desperate. We're not desperate. They need to get rid. Trust me, they need to get rid. He's not going to play for them. So we're in a much more powerful negotiating position. Not only that, but the other thing that'll help us is a 3 million loan for Raya with a 27 million buyout clause at the end of the season. That straight away lowers the prices of every other goalkeeper that's not quite rated, not quite as highly. So, I mean, if you remember, when we first inquired about Henderson, they were talking 30 million.
Yes.
And now we're in 15, 20. And then we're in a loan with the rest of it. You know what I mean? So it puts us in a much more powerful position. So personally, I would say we need to spend it elsewhere. If we can get him on a loan with an obligation to buy, fine. That's not an issue. But I don't think we should be forking out a lot of money. It depends on the price. If it's 10 million, then buy him. But I don't think we should be forking out a lot now in a position we don't need when there are positions we do need. Yeah.
I'll tell you what we need. We need another striker behind Awoniyi, don't we?
I don't think that's my priority. Is that your priority, Dino? Striker?
It's kind of become my priority after I saw yesterday that he took that goal so well, you know. And but he has suffered with a couple of injuries, hasn't he? So without him, what have we got? You know, we're back to like Wood again, aren't we? So I don't know, Hwang and Wood.
He goes quiet.
Way to bring the stream down, right?
I know I talk about CDM all the time, but I just don't know. I just think if one you gets a long-term injury, we're stuffed.
Well, just on this one, Dino, because Crazy Cat Lady said it here. She says, I don't believe I'm saying this, but we could sell Jono and then get Dino and Sangare in. Let's touch about Jono. I thought he was really poor yesterday, playing as a 9. I don't think he's a 9, but well, 1, how did you think he played? And 2, do we need him? I know it's a weird question to ask, but do we need him if Cooper wants to play this narrow formation? Do you know?
If he wants to play the narrow formation, no, we definitely don't need him. He's definitely not a striker, and his stats last year proved that when he played on the right compared to when he played centre forward. But I think Cooper's probably looking at this formation away, isn't he, against the tough teams? But you can't buy somebody like Elanga and not plan for wingers this season. You can't. So he has to play wingers at some point. Whether it's a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, you have to play wingers because that's what we've got. If that's the case, I know Jono's a bit up and down, but when he's on fire, he's really on fire.
Yeah.
And when he's got confidence, he's like unstoppable. But it was poor yesterday, but it's not had a great pre-season. It's not had a lot in pre-season, has it, really? What's he been doing? Training on the training ground and then made an appearance in the last game. It's like not a lot that he's done. So I think it's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Yeah.
I agree with Crazy Cat Lady. 2 for 1 at that level, yes, I would take probably. But then what have we got on the right? You're looking at fitting MGW out there when we play a 3 up front rather than a 4, or you're playing Scarpa, who looks as though he potentially is on his way out. Then we're looking for another right winger again, and it's just like robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah, I know you say that, but we've got Elanga can play on the right. He played quite a decent chunk of his time at Man U on the right.
Yeah, then we need a left winger, and Dennis is obviously not.
We have these forgotten.
Yeah, no, we do. But
Dennis, sorry,
Cooper...
as you're going to jump in and say something there. Callum will be covering this point very shortly as well. We got a lot. To say
I
on
just thought it was an interesting. I thought it was an interesting question of whether it's not whether we want him anymore, do we need him anymore? Because yesterday when he changed the formation and he brought Elanga on, well, initially when he brought Awoniyi on, Awoniyi did really well. And so one of the biggest criticisms of Taiwo last season was that he couldn't hold on to the ball, and I saw a massive improvement in that game yesterday. Even in that 25 minutes that he played yesterday, he didn't give the ball away, he didn't lose it. He brought others into play. He's much more aware of that now. And if you can keep progressing like that, he's going to be one fantastic player. And the pace as well. We talk about Elanga's pace. Did you see Taiwo's pace? Taiwo outran all of them. He outran all of them to get into that position. Because if he hadn't done that, then there's no one for Elanga to aim for. So he was.
As he started behind him. He started behind Elanga and ended up in front. And I'm not saying anything. Everyone was building up Elanga's pace and everything. But you look him side by side. Awoniyi was bombing it down there. So
Absolutely.
I'm glad you brought that up.
The only difference is obviously Elanga's running with the ball, but the pace of Taiwo yesterday was frightening. And I've got to say, his all-round awareness, his movement, that last bit of movement to get him the goal was really impressive, and it's top quality striker movement. And really, if we can keep him fit, mate, I think we'll all agree he's at least a 15 to 20 goal striker. And if you've got somebody like that, you should stay clear of the relegation zone. If you've got somebody like that who can stay fit throughout the season. But I go back to Dino's point now, who's a backup behind him, and at the moment there isn't anyone, and Brennan doesn't work in that position. So if that's the only way Brennan gets into the team, then I don't know if we need him. And then we can make decisions where money can be better spent. I wouldn't if we can kick the can in terms of the payment for the Hendo down the road, then that's fine until next season. But Hendo's got to be in that little shopping list for me, as well as certain CDMs and others that we're interested in. But yeah, do we need him? That's the question. And if a chat can give me a good reason why we do need him for the rest of the season, I'd be interested in him. Bear in mind, I'm his biggest fan, and I don't want him going anywhere. But
I'll give you a reason.
Well,
if we could,
sorry, I want to come to you. Chat, because sometimes we do forget to go through the poll. Do we need Hendo? 61% still say yes, 39 are saying no. So I'll end that one. I'm going to ask the Jono one now as well. Sorry, go on, Dino.
If we crack this counter attack, because it's okay low blocking, but low block you've got to be able to get out quickly, and we've got players. Awoniyi fast, Elanga fast, Jono fast, MGW creator. So if we're not, and the only time we did it well, not the only time we did it well against Arsenal, but the time we did it well, we scored. We moved through it wasn't a long ball. We moved through the midfield quickly, forward pass, ran down, and obviously Awoniyi belted into the middle. And what a touch that was for the goal! What a touch, and what a cross by Elanga and a run. So we can hurt teams away if we can get that sussed, that counter attack actually down on point. If I was Cooper, I'd be bloody practicing that all week, to be honest, because that's our style. Low block equals counter attack, doesn't it? It can't equal anything else. In football terms, it can't equal anything else. So we have to crack that. And when it works, we saw it work against Arsenal for a goal. It was brilliant. So exciting to see that. We tore them to pieces there. And two players. Two. That's it.
Yeah, but looking at it, like I'm going to give credit is the word I'm looking for to Cooper for the substitutions. Now, if I'm being analytical about it, I think if he'd done that maybe 5 or 10 minutes earlier, who knows what the result would have been. But he did say that Taiwo only had about 20 minutes, and it's like we know he's been injured from the Leeds game. But do you think Cooper will look at this now and see that as good as Arsenal are, as good as some of these other teams are in the Premier League, if we've got pace and we've got these attacking options, and I'm still a firm believer, look, if Scarpa's going, we still need Jono, for example. Pays those two, Elanga and Jono on the wing, with Taiwo up front, MG Dub in the hole. It's an exciting front four for me. Do you think this will encourage Cooper, especially as we got Sheffield United next, to maybe look at that kind of front four, if you like, off the back of the Arsenal game?
I, as you know, I don't overhype Jono as much as a lot of Forest fans do.
Yeah.
But I do recognise what he's got, and that is pace and the ability to score from out wide. And I think we do need that. We've got to bear in mind that yesterday we played Arsenal away. And as I said right from the offset, you're being saying not to do anything but a low block with the players we've got available at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of giving him a free pass on that because I think it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I want to see it against Sheffield, because then it won't be the right thing to do. Against Sheffield, we should play a more progressive and attacking formation. If we do that, then I think Jono is a vital component of that.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I have a theory. I think we played him down the middle yesterday to put Tottenham Hotspur buying him, because if you watched him yesterday, you ain't buying that player for a striker. So I think even Jono thought, I better put this wide, otherwise he'll sell me, So
how much do you think that knocked off his price tag, that quote unquote lob?
It should knock 20 million off if it was me buying it. So I wanted to keep him because, as I think it was Spacemonk.
And sorry to interrupt you, Flo. You do it. You're giving me some pure OCD. Stop shaking your camera, man. Is it just me or is it shaking?
Not my camera, mate. It's me. It's me.
It's not.
Did you say Space Monkey or Spacebar or Sci-Fi Monkey? Which one did you mean?
There was one where he said that Elanga, Taiwo, and Jono is a frightening.
Yeah.
I think it is. I think it is a frightening attack, and we need to take advantage of that. And you're quite right, Dino. They are perfect. They are built for counter-attacking, but also
we've got a counter-attack.
No. Yeah, but they are. On the occasions when we need to, then they are built for it. I just don't want us to need to do that all the time this season. Sheffield United being the first one to come along where we don't need to low block Sheffield United.
And thank you, Carl. It's not just me.
Yeah,
it's not just me. It is shaking, and it's giving me a
going on.
Yeah, for those of you watching on the podcast later, you're lucky.
It's like Blair Witch Project, mate. What's going on there? We're looking up your nose.
Innit, man? Okay,
I don't know what to do. I don't know why. I don't know.
Stay still.
I don't see
That'd be a good move. Start
your hands on the table. When you get excited, you start banging away, and it's like
you're thrusting your chair or something. I don't know.
It ain't his hand.
Yeah, it's like cinema 4D cinema, isn't it? You get the experience as well.
Anyway, I want to move on to a couple of the negative performances. And as much as I love MG Dub, he was shite yesterday. That second goal, what was he doing, man? Why can't he just clear it? We just about got out of our box. We should have punted it away anyway. And he decides he wants to do some freaking lacroquetas and Berber spins. And he just completely loses the ball. And we literally concede from that.
Absolutely.
Was he showboating too much for you yesterday? And chat, what do you think?
I think so, yeah. And again, at the wrong time, and it's been a big criticism from us last season of him, where when he's getting the ball in dangerous positions for us defensively and doing those tricks. And yesterday was pathetic, because if you looked up the line, there was 4 Arsenal defenders up that line, Arsenal players up that line. There was no one for him to aim for. Jono would have been central, so just put it into touch or as far up the field as you can, but don't be trying to find a man in that position, not when you're surrounded by Arsenal players. And he was just so easily pickpocketed. It was amateurish, and he's got to have a look at himself. It's not the first time he's done that, and we've conceded goals from him. The Southampton home game towards the end of last season, we were comfortably 2-0 up. That reminds me of a situation where he put us in trouble again. So it's something he really has to iron out of his game, and the showboating has to. I still want him to do it, but I want him to do it in the right areas of the pitch where it's not going to cost us, a goal or a chance, a shot on our target. But it was poor decision making. I think I said in the watch along yesterday, I thought it was as bad as McKenna's decision against Bournemouth at home last season, where he didn't put it into touch again, and we ended up conceding a goal from it. But yeah, poor decision making. He needs to really cut that crap out for me.
Dino, I think Cujo here is spot on. I've said this a lot last year. Yeah. And again, I love MGW. He's going to be a star player. But there is definitely a difference in his levels of performance home and away. Now, having said that, he was brilliant when we played Palace on the last day of the season. But if you look at the overall picture, I personally feel, I don't know what you think, but at home, he's a lot better. I don't mind the tricks and the flicks as long as it's in the opponent's half. Yeah, I'm okay with it. If you're trying something to create a chance, go for it. But when you're doing it like level with our box on the wing there, asking for trouble, that's where I think he still needs to mature a bit for that. But do you think there is a distinct performance level between home and away with MG Dub?
Well, firstly, the tricks and the flicks, that's a bit of maturity. You've got to know when you get older in the career, and footballers get older in the career, they know when to do it, when not to do it, I think, like the guys have said. In terms of home and away, no, I don't think it's anything to do with the grounds we play at. I think it's to do with the formations and the block that we're in. So when we're playing away, we're generally a little bit lower with less possession. And that's probably when he gets frustrated, to be fair, and comes deep and get the ball and tries to dribble up the pitch. Like we saw him try to do a couple of times yesterday.
Yeah.
In terms of when we're at home, when we're a little bit more free-flowing, that's where he shines. So maybe if we're going to play that system, he might not be an away player. We might have to put him on the bench for away games. Yeah.
And the problem I think we would have with MGW, who would replace him if say he were to be dropped? Do we have that out and out number 10?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, you've known I've been saying this for a long time. I'm sorry, but I have. I've been saying it for a long time. The guy's got to get himself in fucking gear. Otherwise, he's got to just get rid, because we can't be putting up with this. Nobody minds the odd trick and flick every now and again, get you on your feet. Wow, brilliant. But do it at the right time and when it's needed. Players now are expecting it. So they just come off him a bit, let him do his flick and take the ball off him. No, it's got to be ironed out, that has. Otherwise, he's a poor player for us.
He's not
for a while. He doesn't bring enough to counteract what he gives away. He gives the ball away so many times. I don't mind giving the ball away if you're trying to do a through pass or whatever. That's fine. But not by trying to dance around in a circle and do it with Charlton or something. No, that's not what we need. We need a proper player.
And do you feel... I just felt this yesterday. Because you've got the other England boys who are, hyped up, your Sakas, etc., on the Arsenal team. And he did go and greet Saka straight after the match, yeah? Was there a bit of, I'm trying to prove myself that I can be the level of a Saka? I don't even know if I'm making sense. It's just a thought I had after the game, And I don't mind that ambition. No. Did anyone feel like that?
That may be, but there's also... I feel there's an agenda, a pro-MGW agenda. I watched him in that under-21s, and sometimes he didn't play well. And we're raving about it, and I'm thinking, what are you on? It's like MGW is the next big thing. Trust me, all the papers are talking about him playing for England and everything. And it kind of blinds them to what like when he does do his pirouettes and loses the ball, we don't even notice it. So there's a pro MGW agenda, and that's dangerous because that'll get into his head, get into the manager's head, and think he's irreplaceable and indispensable. He's not. Don't get me wrong. He's got the potential to be a fabulous player, and I don't want us to get rid of him. I want him to improve under us, but he's got to start learning because it's been a season. He's had a whole season to get this out now.
I get what you're saying.
And the Wolves fans were saying the same thing.
They were. But let me just chuck this one at you, Ez. What I just said there about the pirouettes, the Berber spins. Martinelli did it yesterday. Whether he meant the pass or not, everyone's lauding what an assist it was. So how can I'm just picking on Ant because he said it. How can Ant say in one instance that
can I just answer very quickly? Because that's one spin in one game. It's not 10 spins in every game.
Yeah,
okay, fair enough.
Can I just add in there? Sorry to interrupt.
Yep.
That's in the wrong part of the pitch for MGW to do them.
Yeah.
Martinelli did it in our box.
But the people are saying that he's over tricking and over flicking.
Yeah, no, I agree.
They're not necessitating that it's just because it's in our half. It's even when it's in the other half. I'm going to defend him because I do have some goggles with him. I'll admit that, yeah. And I do see the argument. It's like, but I don't like the, what an assist it was by Martinelli because he decided to do
an accidental
spin. Huh?
He didn't mean to do that. I bounced off his heel. He didn't mean to do that. There's no way.
No chance. How was he getting?
In a million years, he meant to do that.
Watch it again.
He wasn't even looking. It bounced off his heel. It could have gone anywhere.
I've watched it
slow motion, everything, different angle.
Yeah, can we ask that in the chat, please? Because there's no way he was expecting to get through that.
I really don't care what. I use my own eyes. I've got my own opinions. I don't care what.
That's what I'm saying. Look at it again. How was he going to get through that gap? He just literally bounced off his ankle. Did you see how fast it went? It went bang. Yeah. Exactly. There's no way he can that. Anyway, we're all entitled to our opinion. We'll agree to disagree.
I don't think it's worth even.
We'll pick this up on Tuesday, mate. We'll pick this up on Tuesday.
Yeah, you guys can debate that on FFTV Premier League. If you're not subscribed, please do. And we got over 300 of you in here. Thank you for chilling with us this Sunday night.
Sorry, Joe.
For 66 likes. Come on, hit the like button if you haven't already.
Sorry, Joe. How's it going? All right.
Yeah.
Fluke definitely didn't mean it. Lucky. Fluke.
Anyway, okay. I want to move on to a really good performance. Dino, Einar. He's been impressing me pre-season, and I was really impressed with him yesterday. I thought in the main he had Saka well-marshalled throughout a lot of that game. I think the problems for us came down the other side, which we'll talk about. I know a lot of you are commenting on Aurier. We'll talk about him just after Einar. How impressed have you been with Einar? Is it too early to get excited about him, or is there signs of a real decent player there?
He's last season's Aurier, if that makes sense.
I like it.
Because he's just, he came at a snip, didn't he? Nobody knew him. We was all Googling him, having a look at his highlights. And I looked at his highlight reel and I'm like, he looks pretty good.
Even find him on FIFA.
Yeah, he looks pretty good. But then you know what these highlight reels are like when they don't show the bad bits. But he's been pretty solid. He's had a pretty solid pre-season. He's fitted straight in. He's fitted in quicker than Loddy did. And dare I say, he's probably going to be better than Loddy. And even
Bye, Dino.
Hold on.
Wow.
That's early receipts.
What are you doing? What are you doing? You're messing me around.
Loddy,
you can't
say that.
really slow.
You can't say that. Loddy,
you're going to mess us around with this. Loddy.
Okay, it's all right.
Okay, chat. Are you backing me up or not? Does he look better than Loddy in the first few games?
One game.
You got some backers, Dino. You got some backers, mate.
Pre-season. Come on.
Okay, including pre-season then. We'll give you that.
Oh, God.
Actually, I agree with you now, because Loddy's gone, so fuck him.
Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, exactly. Loddy's not even in equation anymore, is he?
Yeah. Oh, it's Kyle again. It's me and Kyle against the world lot. Keep going, Kyle. That's it. Keep going, mate. Keep going.
Well, you got Martin with you as well.
Ignore Mohammed.
Don't you start getting selective, mate.
No, it's Kyle's burner account. Hold on.
All right, there's only one way to settle this. There's only one way to settle this.
Listen, Crazy Cat Lady says it. That's it.
Oh my God, man. Crazy cat lady. Seriously,
Look.
lay off Dino. My lean will
I
get
think Dino's won
Sci-fi,
this one.
Sci-fi hates me, and even Sci-fi agrees.
Well, we can say there's no sentiment in our chat, but we know there is sentiment in our chat. Well, if you mention Jed Spence, mate, they'll all be in on it. So I don't know
yeah.
where
We have to do a poll.
from.
We have to do a poll.
You lot.
This has to be a poll.
All right, stop. As Big
Look.
Mark says, poll. The poll is up. Who is better, Lodi or Einar? If you say Einar, yeah, you're banned.
You've been timed out. He's been solid, though. He has been solid.
70% have gone Einar already. What are you lot doing?
At least he's tried to go forward as well.
Einar.
Even against constantly trying to get forward.
Einar.
He kind of knows his role. He knows that he's got to defend and he's got to get forward. That's what I really like about him. And he doesn't really make many mistakes. I mean, Saka turned him a couple of times, but he did also put a good couple of tackles in on Saka. And like you say, Saka should have been potentially been man of the match, but he wasn't. And that's got to be down to Einar.
I think he's better than
He's a
Maldini.
right back. I don't care if you're playing him at left back. He's a right back.
Better than Stuart Pearce. Oh,
now you're taking it too far.
That was a joke.
Ez, who do you think? 73% in the chat is saying Einar's better than Lodi. What are you saying, Ez?
Oh God, no! I mean, obviously, the better player is Lodi, but we'll take the player who we got right now. But yeah, I think I'm not going to be sentimental. But if we're saying who's the better player, then Lodi's the better player. But Einar's got a lot of potential, mate. I felt we defended really well. I think Dino's right. Saka didn't really get too much out of him. The odd occasion he did get past him, he couldn't really get a telling ball in. He's got a lot of potential. Cooper says he's not fully match fit yet, and I think that kind of showed. He did look like he was blowing around the 70-minute mark. So once he's got his foot fitness in, I think he's going to be a real asset. But yeah, no, I mean, obviously, I don't know. I'm not going with the poll. I'm going to ignore the poll because there's just sentiment in it. Toffolo, yeah, we'll get Toffolo. Was Toffolo even on the bench yesterday? In fact,
yeah, he was. Yeah, I think he was.
Was he?
He was.
Sci-fi was a joke. I took it immediately back. Chill.
Let me check. Hold on. Carry on. And what about you? The only reason this poll is tongue in cheek. Yeah. I love to see how sentimental the chat is. How short term the chat is. One good performance and suddenly he's a Maldini or a Pearce. And are you at Maldini Pearce level with him yet?
No, I'm not. No, it's not Lodi. No, it's not. But it may be just what we need. So it doesn't matter now. Lodi's gone. Fuck him. He's gone. He's got no interest in the guy anymore. He left us. He had the choice to go back, and he chose Marseille. Go away. His missus chose Marseille. He is a class Brazilian international left back. He is a superb football player. But in a way, it's irrelevant because he's gone. So I am extremely impressed with Einar. I think he's been really good. Yeah, lots of enthusiasm, lots of endeavour, exactly what we need, and I think he'll do well for us. And I'm excited to see what he can do.
Thank you, Dave. That's my point. Now, trust me. Social media though. Wolverine hates Einar. I'm saying
GW goggles before he even kicked a ball, or Mr. Lodi goggles before he even kicked a ball.
Was I right on both?
Scarpa goggles, and he's still
don't forget Freuler.
Freuler's been played wrong. Freuler's been played. He's an 8. He's an 8. Speak to Cooper, not me.
I was with you, mate. So I'm just trying to drop you in here.
NFFC says you guys are fantastic. Thank you. Well, I can't even read it because Dino took it off. So thank you, NFFC. I mean, Dino's been
the one. That's why.
He's just looking for it. But just to confirm, Tuffler was not on the bench. The bench was Niakate, Elanga, Freuler, O'Brien, Williams, Quixote, Awoniyi, Wood, and Horvath.
He was in the bookies, allegedly.
We're all in agreement. We're all in agreement that Einar still has some time to prove that he's a Lodi. But the chat don't think that. 68% are saying he's already better than Lodi. Fair enough. Everyone entitled to their opinion.
Do it again in 10 games. Let's see.
Exactly. I remember doing a Navas poll after Leeds and a Navas poll after Leeds again on the second one where he spilled it. The results were very different. Anyway, let's talk about an area of concern. And I'm going to start with you, Ant, on this one because he was your boy last year. And to be honest, he was all our boys last year. He's looking around thinking which one.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Aurier.
Apart from Dini, though. Yeah.
Aurier.
Oh.
Aurier.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Chat, what are you lot saying? What are you lot saying to Aurier now? I did say in the pre-match video on the predicted team. Huh?
I'm saying he asked me a question and then he just carries on.
No, I'm building you up.
Oh.
All right, go on. Just answer the question.
No, mate. You go on.
I forgot what I was going to say, so just answer the fucking question, man.
Yeah, time to go.
Wow, one game.
Yeah. No, it's not just one game. It's the end of last season as well. We need somebody a bit more reliable. He's looking overweight. He's looking slow. He's not covering the spaces. The only thing I will say in his defence is that he's a right back and not a right wing back. And yesterday he was being played as a right wing back. And we all know he's never been a right wing back.
Yeah.
Wing back. He doesn't bring enough to the role and he doesn't get back quick enough. So as a right back, let me rephrase that. As a right back, I'd still have him in the squad. More than happy to have him in the squad as a right back. But please don't use him as a wing back. He's a liability.
On that point about overweightness, right? Is it not just the away kit with the stripy lines? I mean, Anna and Dina had some guts on them at the barbecue.
Yeah, it makes us look like we've got bellies, doesn't it, Dino?
Huh?
It makes us look like we've got a bit of a belly, so it must just be the shirt.
My abs are just so tight, and then I put that shirt on, and I'm like chubby brown.
Yeah, because honestly, even Awoniyi looked a little chubby yesterday. You know what I mean? And he's chiseled. Well, I mean, we saw him when we went to the kit launch. He was chiseled, man. And that shirt just does not. Awoniyi.
Oh, yeah, he's chiseled, yeah.
Yeah, he's chiseled.
So is Aurier. I've seen him with his shirt off, and trust me.
Oh, have you now?
We haven't.
It's been around your place, watching videos of Wood.
Yeah, but Ez, what do you think of Aurier? Because the chat is now saying 62% would drop him. Do you think he's past it now? Do you think that because he got this new contract at the end of last year, that he's kind of just settled into a comfort zone? Or do you think it's one game, man? Chill.
No, it's not just one game. I think we all said that he's been looking a little bit off the pace towards the end of last season as well, and it's kind of carried on into this season. Is there an idea of he's got his contract now and he's kind of settled? I don't know. He doesn't look good at the moment. He doesn't look fully match fit to me. I kind of bigged him up. I said he's a big match player. You probably work better in that back five because he's more disciplined defensively, but he struggled defensively and going forward. He seemed to get robbed off the ball far too easily. Like he had no awareness of his players around him, and when he did get the ball, his distribution was appalling, certainly in that first half. It got slightly better in the second half, but maybe, I don't know if it's just match fitness or there's a more underlying concern for us that he's not got his head in the game anymore. I don't know, but I think it's a bit early to judge him on that first game. But I was surprised that actually when Williams did come on, I understand now that I like I said, Aina did look like he was blown a little bit and he probably did need to come off. But I also felt that Williams probably should have come on for Aurier at halftime anyway. But it's the first game. But a few people have mentioned this, and I think it's worth bringing up, is Biancone. When are we going to see him given a chance? Because he can play that
next season.
He's got bags of pace. He's good on the ball. He just needs to be basically let off the leash and given some game time. I don't know if for Sheffield United's a good game for him to do that. But if you're gonna use Williams as backup for Aina on the left hand side, then you're gonna have to have a backup for Aurier on this right hand side. And Biancone for me is a perfect replacement for him. I don't know if you others agree with that or not.
What would you do, Dino? Right back or right wing back, whatever the hell we end up doing?
Right wing back, Nico's a better player, but I think if a player has a bad game, I don't think you can drop him out the club. That's it. They've got to go. I think it's got to be. He's been good for us last season. Don't forget, he was our player of the year for a little while last year. Aurier, he was a big surprise, and it's like Yates yesterday. He had a horrendous game in terms of his distribution. But we're going to drop him. I think the key is, well, not drop him, not get rid of him. Put him into the abyss. I think. I've always said this: if players aren't in form, you put them on the bench and you bring the others in.
Yeah.
And then they go out of form, you bring them back. And that's how football works. That's how football works. So I wouldn't drop him. No, I still need to figure out what, because if we're playing listen, the most exciting thing about Forest at the minute, other than Felipe, is Awoniyi up front, Elanga, MGW and Jono. Those 4 up front. The only way that's going to work is with the 4 at the back. And if we go 4 at the back, Aurier's better than Nico. End of for me.
Fair point, but Biancone can play right back as well. I think Cooper's going to have to
would fit our counter-attacking style, no doubt.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so on the poll, 63% of you would drop Aurier, 37% of you wouldn't. I'd be interested to know if you would as a right back rather than a right wing back. Look how polite he is. Yes, Ant.
Can I just say something? Sometimes we get a little bit hyperbolic when we're getting excited, you know. So, like, get him out of the club a little bit strong. I did reiterate.
I was just saying drop to the bench. I was saying drop to the bench.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I was going to say I did retract later and say for a back 4, I would have him in the team.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's suited to wing back. That's not his fault.
I agree.
That doesn't mean he's a bad player. It's just not suited to wing back. Nico's a far better wing back than Serge. Yeah. So if we're playing a low block with a wing back, I would have Nico. If we're playing 4 at the back against Sheffield United on Friday, I would keep Serge, just to clear that up, so people don't think Anthony wants him out of the club. You know.
Sorry, a bit random. But can Forest and Chelsea not sponsor each other? Can we just cover this? I know it's off topic, but I know everybody thinks that sponsorship is huge money. It's not. It's not. 10 million shirt sponsorship is fantastic money for a really good club. It's way less than that. So the shirt sponsor thing, I know everybody gets a bit obsessed with it, but it's not worth that much money.
Yeah, I get annoyed with it just because I know the money doesn't touch FFP. I just think it doesn't look professional.
I don't like the fact that they're putting ticket prices up to gain 2.5 million, and yet they've not bothered getting a shirt sponsor for 6.
Yeah, you can look at it that way as well. Absolutely.
But it's like you're looking at 5-6 million at our level where we're on the Premier
Not
League.
even that, do you know? It would be like 3 million, 3 or 4.
And Chelsea have secured a shirt sponsor. It's just very good. Sorry, mate. I was just saying Chelsea have now secured a shirt sponsor, and it's huge.
Yeah,
it would be huge for us. It probably doesn't matter to them.
In the know.
It's just to set the chat's expectations that it's not worth like 100 million or anything. So it's fairly small compared to.
Yeah, look at it this way: if you get a shirt sponsor for 10 million, it's half of Chris Wood.
Exactly that.
Anyway, let's move on and talk about the midfield. There's I think about 350 of you already in here. 66 likes. 66 likes. Hit that like button if you haven't already.
On mine.
Let's pause the stream until it gets up there. Come on, guys.
Well, that would probably be our best stream ever if we just shut it up, wouldn't it? But and if you're watching later on the podcast on Grumpy Old Reds, please don't forget to leave us a 5-star review. Okay, I want to get into this midfield, and I did embed the seeds on Friday on our last live, where I talked about Danilo, I talked about Mangala, and I talked about Yates. Individually, everyone has their favorites of them. Collectively, is there an issue? Because everyone's saying we're weak in midfield, our passing is poor there. Yesterday, personally, I thought Mangala and Yates couldn't pass wind, let alone the ball. I thought they lost the ball quite a lot. And Danilo, for me, was quite unnoticeable throughout the game. This midfield is starting to become an issue. Well, it's already been an issue in my opinion. But Ez, what was your thoughts on the midfielders? And guys in the chat, do we have a problem in midfield? Over to you, Ez.
Yeah. So to answer that question, do we have a problem? I think we do. It's certainly with a link up between those three. And you're right about Danilo. I think he was really on the periphery of that whole game, to be honest. He didn't get too involved. We didn't have much of possession. I think what was our final possession stats? Probably in the low 21. Yeah, so low 20s. But it was a lot worse in the first half. First half, they were all over us, and we just struggled to get out in general. Again, there's no link-up play between the midfielders. So do you put it down to individuals having a bad game? Yates, I agree, didn't have his best game yesterday. He's a bit Mangala as well. Got when he did get the ball, he wasn't looking up. But when he is looking up, what's his only option? It's Jono on the down the middle, not even on the wing. We weren't giving ourselves any options in attack or in midfield yesterday. And I think you got to have to look at the way we're setting up. I think the players, I go back to what we said last week, what I said last week, I think the players are the right players. It's just not been playing the right way. But the simple passes that we're not doing, and is it the pressure that we put ourselves under, or is it just pure lack of awareness? You know, we're not looking up. You saw today. I was watching the Brentford Tottenham game, end-to-end stuff, mate. High line, no real thought for defending. But when they were breaking out, both teams looked comfortable in possession in their midfield. They looked like they were looking up, they were breaking into space. We were hesitant. We were hesitant when we had the ball. We were hesitant when they had the ball. It's down to a lot. I think that's down to a lack of confidence. And let's hope we see some changes on Friday night. But
we have to, don't we?
Yeah, but you can't read too much into that game. But in terms of our collective play in midfield, it is poor again. And I don't know why it's so different from when we are home or away. But I think we're slightly better at home. But yesterday was appalling. We had no transitional play yesterday at all.
Yeah, well, it's certainly first half. And before you come in, I just want to thank you. Thanks, Nick, 2023, to becoming a member. Thanks very much. Appreciated the support. And I'm just going to pull a thing up on screen here. It is stats. Hold on 1 second.
Oh, here come the stats.
You have to do it.
But I was going to say, yeah. So we've got to see changes for Friday.
See that? I can't see that at the minute. Can you see that?
No, it's not showing on the screen.
You've still got the 4 boxes on.
Yeah.
We're at the side, but you've got the 4 boxes on. We've lost Des.
Okay. Well, I mean, what's it showing? What are you hoping to show on that?
I showed it to Sanad earlier, Wolverine earlier. Sorry. It was showing our possession through the game, and once we made those substitutions, our possession went right up from 15 to 14 to 20 to 21 to 27 to 50. And I know we kind of, and you know, we probably gave Arsenal too much respect in that way. Yeah. Do you think we reacted too late to make those changes? And would you have liked to see them earlier? Because we did have them on the rack near the end. The rack. They'll probably laugh at that, but you know.
Yeah. They're content creators and their fans don't quite see it that way. They saw it that we scored a goal, made it nervy for them, but they never really felt that we were going to score another one. And I can kind of understand that. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't say that we're on the rack. It was certainly better from us, and I believed we could get a goal, but I'm a Forest fan. Regarding the midfield, I wouldn't judge that midfield on yesterday. I'm sorry. I know people don't like this, but it's Arsenal away. One of the best teams in the world, literally one of the top 5 teams probably in the world.
Yeah, but it's been a problem. It's been a problem last year as well.
Yeah,
I agree.
The argument is, why can't we make simple passes? Because that's what we're struggling to do.
I agree with all that. I'm just trying to not let this one game dictate how we are thinking going forward. Now, after Sheffield United, if we see a similar display by the midfield, then I'll be all over it. But I'm just willing to give on this occasion a little bit of rope, if that's the right term. Bearing in mind the fact we were playing Arsenal away. I mean, they're good. They're really, really good.
No one's saying they're not.
United, and on Friday, what would you do in midfield? Did you play a 2? Would you play a 3? What formation would you play? And chat, just have some thoughts and put some comments in the chat about what your midfield would be against Sheffield United on Friday.
So we're asking me?
Yeah, you're going to ask the number Megan and teams. He can't get to 11.
It depends on the formation, doesn't it?
You choose. You're the manager for the day.
Well, I'll Scott pretty far with the manager for the day. I mean, I know everybody likes 4-2-3-1, don't they? I quite like 4-3-3 as well. So if I was going 4-3-3, no, I want to go 4-2-3-1.
You want to fit MGW in, don't you, my friend?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, even though after what I said, I still want to.
You hate him.
Is that half the problem, though? Are we
I don't hate him. I love the guy. I want him to succeed. I'm only doing it for his own benefit. It's a bit of tough love, you know. Oh, you crap, sort it out.
Come on, chat 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3. Surely nobody's going to put a 5, but if you want a 5 at the back, please put it in the comments. Let's see what the chat are thinking in terms of how we should line up. Now, Sheffield United looked a bit ropey. Obviously, all 3 teams that came up lost, which is nice to see. And they all look a bit starstruck, a bit like we did in our first game against Newcastle away. So let's have a look at what the chat's at. Right, so we've got 4-2-3-1. Brett, they're coming through so quick. 4-3-3. It's all the 4s. It's a 4-3-3, 4-3-3.
Has anyone said 5?
Not yet. No, only away.
I think
Anybody
what
5?
Michael says there to me makes sense. 4-2-3-1 at home and a 5-4-1, whatever variation you want, away.
Obviously, we've got crypto in the house.
Again, though, do we really mean that, Wolverine? Are we going to go to Sheffield United and play 5 at the back?
If our form is going to be as bad as it was last season away from home, then yeah.
Yeah, but let's be positive. Let's be happy. Let's clap some happy Jews.
There's a couple of different ones. There's wing back, and there too, and there too. So there's a few.
Look,
I'm not sure.
Let's get onto the Sheffield United game in a bit. I just want to nail down this midfield thing because, and you were saying that don't judge it on yesterday. I'm not. I'm judging it on last season as well. And I just feel there's a ball passing midfielder, if that's even such a thing, that's missing from the team. I don't think Yates is good enough with the passes. I don't think Mangala is. And to be honest, Danilo is good at bursting. His energy is at bursting forward rather than he can do the odd pass. He's actually probably the best out of the 3. The best of the passes,
yesterday, wasn't he?
Huh?
He looked lost yesterday. He looked lost to me yesterday.
Yeah, didn't notice him. Yeah. And I hate to say it, but our probably best 2 passing midfielders are the 2 the fan base probably the most against, which would be Freuler and Shelvey. If you look to them as out and out passers, unpopular opinion, and no way am I saying play either of them. But what I'm saying,
I agree with you. I agree with what you're saying there.
Scarpa. He can play back there. He didn't play the left back.
Scarpa, who is probably one of the best passers in the club, look at these players who are not passing and think, what have I got to do to get in? It's a bit weird.
Anyway.
Yeah,
but something has to change.
We need a ball playing, ideally deep lying ball player. That's what we need. But they aren't easy to come by, and the ones that are good don't want to come to us.
That's why Shelby was brought in, wasn't it? To be that person.
Yeah, and you know what?
He looked perfect, didn't
he? Before he played for us, he looked perfect. He looked the perfect profile.
Yeah, and Dino, you were a big fan of him, and you convinced me he was going to be good, right? And I do see the logic behind it, but we do almost need a Shelvey in there who's not a bellend, don't we? That's the kind of player we need.
Yeah, I mean, he's. I think when he let in a couple of bad goals, he caused a couple of bad goals, didn't he? And that really, really made him hated with a lot of the Forest fans. So, did he get a fair crack of the whip? Yeah, you can put a lot of people in that bracket, can't you? Bardet, Dennis, there's a lot of people that you can talk about that. But listen, he's not our future, so we need to move on. And there's a few shouts. I've seen a few shouts for O'Brien in here. He's not necessarily a ball player. He's more of a ball winner, is he? A bit like Yates is. But I think we're suffering with a bit too familiarity over the 3, other than Danilo, who's kind of more of a box to box, isn't he? We do not have that ball player in midfield, and that's a problem and we don't have it at the back either, and that's a problem when you're playing counter attack, because that's why so many balls are coming back, and we saw it against Arsenal, and certainly in the first half.
But we're not even smart when we have got the ball, Good. Yeah. I think Ant kind of slipped in the point, but he didn't really. I'll elaborate on it a bit more about Lewis O'Brien. One of his key skills, and one of the things that we noticed when he played against us for Huddersfield, was he gets a ball, gets it forward, and then he picks up fouls in and around the penalty area, and progresses the ball forward. We don't have that. smartness, and if that's the right word to use, in our play at the moment. You know, if we do get the ball, we're trying to find someone, and then if we can't find someone, we end up losing it. Hold on to it, grab yourself a foul, you know. But we saw the difference, like I said, when Taiwo came on. He actually held up the ball and got players involved. But our midfielders are so, it's like a hot potato to them, you know, and they don't look comfortable in possession. And I keep saying it's going back to how they're being set up. But you're right. There's just simple, basic skills of just pass a ball 5 yards, you know, and we're failing to do simple things like that. So it is a worrying thing. I hope it changes when we're at home. I think you've kind of touched on the formation that we want to see on Friday, and I don't know if we're having a longer discussion on that. But from my 2 pennies worth, I would love to see a 4-2-3-1 and have Elanga and Jono either side of Morgan Gibbs-White and Taiwo. You got to start with Taiwo. He's got to be fit. If he can do that, even in that 20-minute spell, can do that kind of run and hold on to the ball the way he did yesterday, because he didn't shirk out of anything either, did he? Considering he's coming back from an injury, I think he's strong enough to start. You got to start with Taiwo against Sheffield United. And
can we have a quick chat about Taiwo? Because I don't think he's been given enough credit for the way he got across Ben Scheidt yesterday. That for me, forget how fast he bombed into the box, the way he got across Ben Scheidt was absolute proper number 9 play. Get in front of the defender, use that physicality, block him off. And he made the pass for Elanga so much easier to come across.
With 4 players on him. If you freeze frame that shot, there's 4 players around him and no other Forest player in sight.
And
he finished number 9. Alan Shearer would have loved that. He'd have been. I didn't see much, but he would have been saying that's what a forward should be doing, getting across, building.
Gary Lineker, Alan Shearer, that was their bread and butter, mate.
It's a goal hanger's goal, isn't it? It's a goal hanger's finish.
He's always there, mate, in the 6-yard box.
The movement was fantastic because he cut in, then he pulled out, gave himself the space, and gave Elanga a target hit, because all Elanga then had to do is just get it into that space, and he did all the work for him. But I thought it was fantastic play. It's real progression, and again, like I go back to his hold-up play yesterday, massively different from last season. You know, at times the ball would just bounce off him, and he held onto it really well. So I think he's a real asset for this season. We kind of do have to, until we've got other options, kind of wrap him up in cotton wool. But for me, he's got to start against. He's got to start against Sheffield United, though, whatever happens.
Yeah, I would say rather than bring him on, I'd start him, and then he needs to be fit all season. If he's fit all season, he'll grab a bucket load of goals for us.
How many goals did he score that
position? But we've got to look after him. Don't play him in the cup games. When the game's done, bring him off.
Was that either 11 or 12? I can't remember.
Yeah,
I thought it was 11.
11 is around that number.
Considering how much time he missed with injury, and considering that it was his settling in season, that's pretty bloody impressive.
5 in a row now. 5 in a row.
Yeah.
5 in a row. That was the point I was going to make. Collymores is 6 in a row in the top flight. Well, in the Premier League days, obviously top flight didn't exist before Premier League, but 6 in a row is our record with Stan. So, but look, give him a chance to get that against Sheffield United, mate.
Look at all these other clubs that are desperate for a goal scorer.
Yeah,
Everton, for example, Mopé missed 5 sitters.
and chat, you're welcome. All those bellends that if Cooper wants Mopé.
Well, I admit it, Wolverine. You and I were devastated when he didn't come here.
Do you know the hate we got for saying how shit he was?
I think we all realised how shit he was, and it was. You're right. There were happy clappers saying, "No, if Cooper wants him, then he should get him." Yeah, okay. Right.
Well, not even Dino's mum would want him. Seriously, is that bad, man?
Kyle's bought moped. I like
that. And poor Mike, poor Everton Mike. I was speaking to him last night, and he was just like. Poor guy, because he did. If you're not subscribed to Mike, subscribe to him from Beat the Drop. Sorry, Mike, Everton Mike. And I was just like, mate, I just want to thank you again for taking Mopé before we could have him. And all his message back was, he is utter shite. Because he missed one from 2 yards out. But anyway, I want to carry on with still just a couple more points on Taiwo. Now, what I will say, I want to get numbers from you guys. I've seen some crazy numbers on social media that people are saying he's a 20 to 25 this season. I can't see that, not because he can't do it, but obviously the style of football we're playing. I'd love him to, but do any of you guys in chat, give me a number in the comments of how many goals you think Taiwo will get this season. Let's go around the houses here for this one. And how many do you think he'll bag? Premier League. I'm talking Premier League, not League Cup.
15. I think 15 will be a good season. I mean, this is the Premier League. You know, only like £80 million world-class strikers get 20 goals a season. Let's be fair. Not saying he can't, by the way, but you got to bear in mind the service he's getting. So if he got 15, I would be ecstatic with that. I think that'd be great.
What about you, Ez? How many do you think he'll bag?
I said earlier in the show, I think he stays fit.
Just hold on 1 second. Terence, 27. We'll win the league, man. 24. That's some crazy numbers, isn't it? Sorry, Ez.
Guys, just think about who scored 20 goals or more last season. Just think about how many players actually did that and the teams that they were playing for. Before you go in with your 25s and stuff. Just saying.
30 from Georgia. I said earlier in the show that I think if he stays fit all season, he can get 15 to 20 goals because 11 goals, and like Ant quite rightly said, he missed large chunks of a season. So he missed more than half a season last year. So if he's getting 11 goals with playing less than half a season, I think if he stays fit and he stays, we get the quality to him like we did yesterday, then he can, for me, if I'm going to put a figure on it, I'll go 17 goals this season.
Just a quick shout out to the absolute legend that is Will 69, as on the back of his shirt. Red Dog. We love all you guys at FFTV, to all the haters from X that slag the guys off. Oh, Twitter. Okay, I'll keep forgetting X. They are here watching. If you don't like their content, simply tune out and carry on with your day. Great work. Hey, Will, we love you, man. We love you. Thank you so much for the £10. You absolute legend. And yeah, haters, we love you too, because you're sitting here watching. Do I need to say more? Just before I ask you, Dina, on how many he will bag, to back up Ant's points, Premier League goal scorers last season: Haaland 36, Kane 30, Tony 20, and that was it. No one else above 20, chat. All right, no one else above 20. Next one was Salah with 19, Wilson 18 for Wilson last year. Bloody hell. Rashford got 17. Martinelli and Odegaard then got 15. That was your top list. That's your top 2, 4, 6, 8 there. So to be in the top 8, you need 15 goals. Do you want to change your numbers as Samir with the 202 or whatever it was? Or are you still confident in the 20s? Dino, with that information, how many is he bagging?
17.
I just gave you the stats, man.
On the dot.
17.
Phil, thank you so much for the super sticker, you legend. If he got 17, Dino.
2 off his arse and 1 off his knee.
Mate, if he got 17... If you assume like they'll get the same, that would put him 2, 4, 5th, 6th top goal scorer with Rashford from last year. I know it's a different season.
There's no Kane anymore. So it gets him up 1. There's no Kane.
True. Exactly. Let's say you're right, Dino, and he gets 17. Yeah. What the hell would his value be? Because if Tony, God knows what he will cost. I think Spurs are thinking about him in January. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, has Taiwo got a big ceiling here to grow in terms of just his valuation for Forest? I mean, you look at it now, it's great business, 17 million roughly last year. What could he grow to? Could he be worth more than a Jono for us?
Oh, you don't with these transfer fees this year. You don't know what he's going to grow to. Just look at Caicedo. I'm always on about 1.8 million to Brighton 18 months ago, and now look, they're all fighting well over 100 million for him. So you can't really guess. The sky's the limit. I mean, I never, I like Taiwo, but if somebody's going to give us like stupid money for him, then it's good for the club, isn't it?
Do you think someone could? Sorry, did you finish? Sorry, I thought you'd finished.
I know.
Ez, do you think someone may come in for him this window? There's been no links at all for anyone going by. Someone who's got 10, 11 goals from last year in the Premier League has value, doesn't he? Especially in a shortened season where he was injured for the middle part.
Yeah, I mean, he did himself no harm yesterday, did he? Because on the first game on TNT, to get that goal, he looked confident. Like I said, it wasn't just for goal. It was his pace, everything else around it. He looked really good yesterday, and I wouldn't be surprised if we have a few other players. At the moment, it's just the only real interest we've had is in Jono, but we've definitely got assets that any top club or even middle of a table club will be looking at. Because look at Brentford. Let's say, for example, the domino effect. They sell Tony. You think they wouldn't be looking at someone like Taiwo? And they are a little bit ahead of us at the moment. I'm not saying that he'd have his head turned by, but I think he's really happy where he is at the moment. But if you've got quality and we want them to perform, then you're gonna have bigger clubs or even clubs further up the league sniffing around your place. I would not be surprised if in January there's at least some serious interest in Taiwo if he continues the way he's going.
I've just asked a nasty question in the poll. I couldn't resist. If you had to sell one, Taiwo or Jono, who would you sell? Sorry, Ed, you wanted to jump in and say something.
I was literally in my mind thinking, to be honest,
nasty
I'd be
question,
more nervous about losing Taiwo than I would Jono. I think he's more vital to us because without Taiwo, we're in trouble.
I agree.
So, and also the other thing I was going to say, and you know this, Wolverine, because you spoke to the guys from AFTV, opposing fans, of course, all the opposing fans, because a lot of them didn't face Taiwo last year.
Yeah.
But the Arsenal fans, they were worried about Taiwo, weren't they? They said he battered us last season.
Yeah.
Yep.
So his reputation is growing a little, even though he was injured so much.
Absolutely. I love Ian's answer there. He's pleading the fifth and abstaining from the vote. At the moment, 96% would say Jono. Look, it's just a fun poll. They're not, he's not going anywhere. Garibaldi forever saying Awoniyi is more important. Interesting. Okay.
Garibaldi forever.
Dito's, mate. All right. So we've covered, I think, all the players there. We've talked about the subs. Let's talk about Cooper in general from yesterday and what the takeaways from the good and the bad and what you guys thought about it. Who would I sell, Ant or Dino? I'd put them both up for a free.
And I was going to say depending on the price, but no,
I'm retiring anyway. I'm not going to another club. I'm retiring.
All right, let's touch on Cooper, his tactics, and his overall performance. Ez, what did you make of his tactics? Do you think he gave Arsenal too much respect to start with, and then corrected himself, or do you think he got everything quite spot on yesterday? And what do you guys think in the chat?
I think it kind of possibly was his game plan to go the way he did, and certainly he knew how many minutes he was going to give Taiwo, for example, at the end of the game. So it was all part of his game plan. I think he was, to be honest, I think he was pleased that we managed to only go in 2-0 down at halftime, because once they got their first goal, they did look like they could get several more. So Cooper, from his point of view, was probably almost gearing himself up for that kind of game, and it probably played out exactly how he expected it to. Like Wolverine said earlier, I would have loved to have just seen if we had another 10 minutes with those players on the pitch to see if we could have got an equaliser out of that game. But I think gameplay-wise and how the game panned out, I think Cooper would have been really happy with it. I think it's exactly what he was hoping the game would turn into. And we gave ourselves a chance towards the end.
I think this is an interesting point. Do you know what Ian's saying? He goes, Cooper wasn't happy with the first half. I mean, he did say that in the post-match. And second half was much more positive. But the way he set up, to me, looked like that's how he thought the first half would go out, if that makes sense. So do you think he did think it was going to go out that way, or did he set up to go out that way, should I say? Or was it more so that he expected the second half in both halves?
I don't understand the question, and it's Owen, by the way.
Yeah.
Owen.
Not yes.
Sorry,
Ian,
I keep doing that to you. My bad. What I'm saying
can
is...
Can you rephrase it in a much simpler...
Let me rephrase it in English. It was a shit question, I agree, right? What I'm saying is... what Owen is saying there, yeah, نحكي لك بالعربي ونحكي لك كيف باش تفهمني.
Ignore that.
Do you think Cooper is kind of contradicting himself a bit there? Because the first half setup looked like that was how the game was going to go. And when he made the changes, that's the direction it went in.
No, I think he was more pissed with the amount of possession we lost. I think he was more pissed with the amount of possession we lost. I think that's what he was angry with. He definitely set up that way. But, for me, the only improvement area for Cooper would be to have done it 10 minutes earlier.
Yeah, but in his defense, Taiwo, he did say had 20 minutes. I mean, if you want to believe that or not, it's up to you. But we can only go on what's said.
How do you calculate that? I've seen him at the club measuring the fucking knees with a piece of metal, measuring the angle of the knee. And I'm like, what are you doing that for? Just get out and kick a ball. Just go and play football.
Do you think they're overprotective of injuries too much?
I think they're just too, this is me talking, too analytical.
He knows that. He goes on about our medical stuff. Came on
he's had 22 minutes. Let's get him off quick before he explodes. He's a footballer, man. He used to be playing in the park as a kid for 4 hours straight. For God's sake.
You can't compare a park football with Premier League, man.
You're right or am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong and I'll shut up.
I'll let Ant talk, because Ant's favourite topic is about this. If they're on the bench, they're fit enough.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
I do, yeah.
I'm the same as you.
Yeah. I hate it. Neil Cartier was on the bench. Why was he on the bench? He's either fit enough or he's not fit enough. You can't be a bit fit. Well, I suppose you can in a way, but,
Again, Cooper said he had about 10 minutes.
I agree with Dino, right? That you say he said he's got 20 minutes. I agree with Dino. What do you mean 20 minutes? Is it that exact, that science? So you've got 20 minutes, not 25, not 15. You got 20 minutes. No.
Ez, are you with these old farts?
You know what? Right, we're not talking about football in the park. We're talking about multi-million-pound assets for these clubs. Let's have a look at one of Arsenal's big signings in the summer, Julian Timber. Okay, it was his fault. He got himself injured, but he ended up coming off.
He should have been sent off.
He should have got. Yeah, I think he certainly came off worse from that challenge, and it was his own freaking fault anyway. But he's come off, right? So they tested him. They left him on for a little bit longer. I think he came off after the second half, didn't he? If listening to manager afterwards, and he felt he'd made a mistake there. He should have taken him off at half time. So you got to kind of judge it right. And maybe we're not privy to all the stats and analytical data that we have got on these players, but 20 minutes does sound a bit like a rudimentary amount of time that we've given him. But they do know what these players are capable of, and they do know how much you want to stretch them. Obviously, the bigger picture for Cooper and for Forest is the Sheffield United game. Give him some minutes in yesterday's game. Thankfully, in those minutes, he did a lot. He scored a goal. He did plenty of other stuff around the ball as well. But the real target is really Sheffield United. Because if we were 4-0 down, I would never have bought Taiwo on in that game. So it does depend on the kind of game. And Cooper obviously thought we had a chance back into that game and brought him into that for the last 20 minutes. But yeah, if we were 4-0 down, would you have played him?
Yeah, but look, you've got to defend Cooper here, because they get information from the medical team. It's the medical team that will pass a player fit. It's not Cooper. They'll tell him, for example, Taiwo, spacebar. They'll say Taiwo has got 20 minutes in him max or something. Now, someone did raise the point in there. Well, what about injury time? That adds another 10 minutes. So I think that's a fair point. What I would have liked to have seen, and again, someone just put it in the comments. Sorry, the comments are flying by. But Nia Kate, he said he had about 10 minutes in him, 10, 15, I think he said after the match. I would have liked to seen that just to get his ring rust off him, ready for the Sheffield United game. Again, that for me is the key game here. The long throw-ins could have worked, and Ant's pissed off. What?
How the fuck can he have 10 minutes left? It's his elbow.
I don't know. Maybe the
elbow. When you go to IKEA,
connects to the hip bone and all that shit, and eventually it gets to the elbow, doesn't it?
Yeah. When you get to IKEA and there's a bit of furniture and they're testing it with his hammer and they're doing it over. This has done it like 30,000 times. That's what they do, because he's running. Yeah. They've measured his elbow. They've measured it with a fucking piece of metal as well, so they know what angle it's going at. And he's running like that. And when he does it 40 times, he's got to stop and get off. As I disagree with your point, my friend.
Go on.
If we were that good at protecting players, why did we have so many injuries last year?
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole other debate. I'm not arguing with you on that. I'm not arguing with you on that. My point here is Cooper can only go on what he's advised from the medical team. That's my point here. Yeah, it's not up to him to clear fitnesses. If he's told 20 minutes, then that's what he's told. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
All right, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
With the jury and timber thing, one of the guys that was commentating, who was an ex-footballer, I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Inchcliffe. I'm not sure. Said that sometimes, you know, at half time, you can't assess it fully at half time, right? Yeah, minutes in the over. You can't assess it properly at half time. You can only make a medical judgment. And sometimes it's down to the player. You say, how does it feel? And if that player saying, yeah, it feels absolutely no problem, I can't feel it at all, then you're likely to let him go back on. And I think that's what happened with Julian Timber. He said, I felt fine. And he went on and then he didn't feel fine anymore.
On the flip side, let's look at what happened to Romero for Spurs today. He took a really bad head injury. He ended up scoring their goal, didn't he?
With his head.
With his head. But he looked shaky on his feet afterwards when he was going for a celebration, and they made the decision to take him off. It ended up costing him one of theirs because if they'd done it earlier, they wouldn't have used up a substitution. It would have been that.
No, they did the wrong. They submitted the wrong paperwork. Yeah.
Oh, was that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
the wrong coloured sheet to the officials. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are nuances to this fitness thing, but. You're right. I mean, if Cooper's told he's only got so many minutes, my point was, if we were getting battered at that stage, would you have risked him? Because I don't think I would have. Would you have still played him?
Yeah, I would have, just to get, I hate to say it, minutes in the legs ready for Sheffield United.
That's what training's for.
No, but you need match fitness, and you can't just say training. There's a different level.
You're right, I'm kind of kidding a little bit kidding. A little bit serious, but a little bit kidding.
That comment is really tickled me. That minutes in the old.
I know, man. I know. It was Nick, wasn't it? But so anyway, okay. One more thing we have to talk about, which Laurie brought up. Declan Rice. Was it a penalty or not? Dino, in your opinion, was it a pen? And chat, yes or no? Yes or no? Was it a pen? Take your forest goggles off.
Well, let me just put some clarity behind it. I saw another one this weekend that was given. And I thought that was soft, and it was very, very similar. I can't remember who it was, but it'd have been. It's rough. We can't clutch at those straws. I didn't think it straight away when I saw it. When they then slowed it down on the replay and like really, it was like it was he unballed it, but
in reverse of it.
Yeah.
No, it's too soft.
Too soft. Ez, what about you? Yes or no?
Yeah, no penalty.
Yeah, so on Declan Rice one yesterday, looking back on it, I don't think it would have been. I think we would have pulled it back for the push on a defender that Body did before it got to Declan Rice. So I don't think we would have got it either way. I'm just annoyed or surprised more than anything that we didn't even review it from all accounts. So why? But I think on review they probably would have given the foul against Bolly for pushing the defender. But then I saw one today in the Chelsea game, I think it was, where it hit Jackson's hand. That looked like a Stonewall penalty. So how was that not given?
Yeah, kind of went like that, didn't it?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So how was that not given? So it's still a really weird handball rule inside the penalty area. I don't think it would have given it on review, but the fact that we didn't review it is probably what I'm more annoyed about.
I think it's because Bolly got a touch on it. It wasn't direct from the corner. And the distance between Bolly and Declan Rice was, I mean, they were almost in bed together, weren't they? So I don't think they can give it on that.
Well, we didn't review it, did they? We didn't review it out of the game. No.
For me, that wasn't... Sorry.
Go on.
For me, that wasn't a penalty. And to be honest with you, I'm sick of all these fucking stupid penalties that are given for handball. If the ball's blasted at you from a yard away, and even if your hand's out there, it's just too many stupid penalties given for handballs these days. It's like they were on about when they were bringing this rule in, you'll get people kicking the ball at hands. And yeah, I can see it coming because they seem to be giving ridiculous handballs now. I don't like it.
It used to be hand to ball, not ball to hand, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, if you're defending, what's a natural position? Because what I don't think is a natural position is trying to defend with your bloody hands behind your back. That ain't a natural position. Trust me, I played football. And when you're playing football, your hands are all over the bloody shop. You know,
I
you
used to
get
play
what level
football with
do
my
you
legs
play?
tied behind my back.
if you're sliding in for a tackle, your arms will go up naturally, but they'll
Oh
give
my
a
God,
penalty. I don't like
What
it.
have I started?
But-
Gone.
Say, I have got one point I wanted to bring up before we end that's got nothing
Yeah.
to do with anything except football, a little bit. And that is that, you know, the new rule changes that are brought out. We all like the extra time. Yeah, that's great. But the one I like most of all, I don't know about the other guys, and I don't know why it irritates me so much, but I hate it, is when players do that. I hate it.
Yeah.
And now they've only got to go like that, and that's it. They're booked. I love that.
Yeah, I saw one today, didn't we? Yeah.
All right, let me tell you my 2 cents on the penalty. Yeah, Bolly didn't appeal for it. End of discussion for me. He didn't appeal for it at all. So I don't think it was a pen. Yeah. Okay, that's time. Yeah, we've covered a lot. We'll probably do a pre-stream for the Sheffield United match. Get the thoughts in maybe on Thursday because it's a Friday night game. So don't you guys forget Friday night. The game is on. It's been a fun stream. We took a loss, but it doesn't feel like we did, kind of in a weird way. I don't know. Maybe we're turning into happy clappers. Who knows?
Because we're expecting 5-0. That's why.
Yeah. We've got the Fantasy Premier League coming tomorrow, Ez. Is that Gunners?
No. We've got Tuesday. We've got
Tuesday,
weekend. Yeah, so Tuesday we've got a weekend review show with Anne, and then we're probably going to have to move our Premier League show, our FPL show around the live show we do on Thursday. So we'll be on Thursday, but we'll move it around the live show that we're doing already. Okay, we'll sort something out. Anyway, just to quickly answer Harvey because you have asked a few times. Harvey, we'll I think me and Ant are certainly there. Just meet us in if you are going, meet us in the fan zone before the kickoff, and come and say hello. Because we will be there for the Sheffield United game. Just so, take it off the screen.
And also, don't forget on the Predictor League, I've absolutely smashed it out the park this weekend, and Twister's had an absolute stinker. Yeah, but is Mark in the chat? Mark's had the biggest stinker. What?
I'm above all of you.
Are you?
Yeah, I sent you a screen clip earlier, just saying. I'm
above
all of you.
Whatever.
Still got a game to go, mate.
Above all of you.
I've still got players to play this weekend, mate.
Anyway, on that note, there's plenty of content to come. There's the in-depth analysis for the Arsenal Forest game coming out tomorrow, as well as a transfer update where we're talking about Scarpa, Sangare, and everything else. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. Subscribe to Forest Fan TV. If you're watching on Spotify or Apple, leave us a 5-star review. We'll catch up with you guys tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in. And come on, you Reds.